Today I've got the amazing Naomi Johnson from the Profile.company out of the UK, and she's the expert LinkedIn profile writer. And let me tell you, she actually took my profile through its paces, and I found out that I could improve in a lot of areas. So we're actually going to go through and hack and chop and cut my LinkedIn profile, and just sort of as a demonstration, as we say, what you can and can't do, or what you should and shouldn't do, or what really does not really need to be on your profile. So we had a great time going through the profile and cleaning it up. So hopefully we'll see some results soon, but take a listen to Naomi Johnson and the Profile.company as we go through my LinkedIn profile.
Overwhelmed with online, or just wanting to learn more about how you can build a successful business amidst all of the self-appointed gurus, big buzzwords and empty promises? The Breaking Digital podcast by Doyle Bueller tells you exactly what smart entrepreneurs need to know to escape the clutter, get clear of the confusion, and pass the bullshit of building and growing a successful business online. It's about digital leadership and delivering the best value for your business online to your audience. Now, here's your host and author of the book on digital leadership and online marketing, The Digital Delusion, Doyle Bueller.
Today I'm with Naomi Johnson, all the way from the UK, and Naomi is from the company called the Profile Company. And you're probably wondering what a profile company does. Well, Naomi is the expert LinkedIn profile writer. And what she does is she specializes in writing LinkedIn profiles that leverage trust of your network. A really cool task in today's day and age. So welcome, Naomi.
Thank you. Hi, nice to be here with you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Naomi.
Well, I came into this about 3 years ago when I was asked to work with a company who sold LinkedIn training. And what was really interesting is the way we got our participants who were buying the training to actually engage with us was to offer them a LinkedIn profile review. And one thing I noticed was that people were really enthusiastic about the suggestions I gave them. I was repeating myself a lot. And also they weren't putting the changes into place. And when I went to find out why, what I discovered is that they were too close to their own businesses. They weren't wordsmiths themselves, so they really couldn't write about themselves. And they simply didn't have the time. So then I said to them, well, how about I write it for you? And everybody said yes. So that's how I began writing LinkedIn profiles for people. And it's been a really exciting journey. I've now written the book, What to Put on Your LinkedIn Profile, which is on Amazon, and writing profiles for people all over the world and learning about their businesses, getting to know them. And my background really is in marketing and personal branding. So it's a perfect match between the two.
Oh, excellent. Thanks for that overview. And obviously, LinkedIn is being used more and more. Like, I think I signed up in 2005, and those years since then have just changed dramatically. How have you thought that, or how do you feel that it's changing even more?
It's changed massively. I think, when they began, they were solely a recruitment company, a place to go to get jobs and a tool for recruitment agencies. But actually, since 2009, there's been a big shift with a lot of entrepreneurs evolving on the platform from being employed to self-employed, or just seeing it as the opportunity it really is to connect with your network and leverage the trust in it. So there's been a massive change in how people interact on it, and more of a look at building businesses, generating leads on the platform, and what that actually entails. And of course, the big question is return on investment, which I think now we do have more answers than we did back in 2011, for example. So there's been a big evolution, and you're finding that the majority of people you meet at business networking events, they will be on the platform and they will be trying to be active on the platform, although most of them are still a little confused as to how to do that and what they should be doing. And so, yeah, there's been a massive shift, and there's a new member joining every 2 seconds, and there's over 440 million users, and it's in pretty much every country, and it's a dominant part of business. LinkedIn comes up in every business conversation. People now they research suppliers, people they're going out to have a meeting with. and they care about what they look like on the platform as well, and also how they're behaving. So it's really shifted a lot.
Yeah, and even Google uses it as one of those referencing factors as well. And most people, if you Google their name, what comes up first? It's their LinkedIn profile, because
Mm.
that's usually what they've done the most on. And LinkedIn, it has a very heavy weighting in the overall sort of digital scheme of things.
Yeah, definitely. If you were to Google somebody's name, if it was a rare name, they would definitely come up. If it's quite a common name and you put one keyword associated with them, it will come up second on Google as well. So it's absolutely massive the impact your LinkedIn profile has, not forgetting the first degree, second degree connections, of people will be finding your profile whether you are actually using it or not. If you have a profile, it's coming up in somebody's search engine result somewhere.
Yeah,
It's having an impact.
and that can have a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so what I've actually done, or I've rather, I'm not sure I should be doing, but I've asked Naomi to go through my profile because it obviously needs some work, and just sort of compare it to what's going on. And I want to have a little bit of fun with it too, so we can all sort of see how to make a profile better, or what you shouldn't do in the case of my profile. So Naomi, yeah, let's walk us through like that profile.
All right.
Obviously, we know how important it is, but what are the details that are really critical for people who are writing and who are putting their profiles together?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say that LinkedIn really is the profile is a science and an art, and I think you're about to find out exactly why.
Or
And
bad art. Mine's like a
I,
stickman
I,
art.
I'm going to apologize up front. I am direct and I'm not very good at not being brutal.
Oh,
So
okay. Whoops.
I know you're tough for this,
Yeah,
which is great. And I've got a few examples as well, which hopefully will demonstrate the points I'm making.
sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, as you can see on the screen now, this is Doyle's profile. And as you know, there are many elements of a LinkedIn profile. What we're always doing when we look at the profile is the journey of the prospect. Doyle has a great background. Actually, social media information is within sight of the screen. Don't forget that there is always this advert that comes up as well for people who aren't paying. I don't pay. You can ask me about that later. And so the let's stay in touch is slightly out. And the information below is out of place. You can't see it, but you almost don't care that you can't see it anyway because you can't see any of it. So it's a really nice background, a really nice friendly smile. And then you've obviously got your profile picture, which is great. And so what a photo is like seeing a person across a room and seeing, oh, that looks like a friendly person, I'd like to go speak to them. Then you shake their hands, they tell you their name, and then the heading is very much the equivalent of giving that first 10-second pitch about what it is that you do. Now, what's really different about being online compared to face is if you tell me something that is boring, doesn't explain it much, or I'm actually just not interested, I'm either not going to click on your profile or I'm going to move away very quickly. That is the nature of being online. We don't have to stand there and be polite and talk to you for 30 seconds before we can politely get away.
So politeness has gone out the door.
Yeah, it's like Tinder, just swipe left.
Yeah, yeah.
So the key thing we want to do is really grab somebody's attention on the platform. So I'm just going to show you up the top here. We've got the advanced search option. I'm just going to show you what happens when we do an advanced search and see people in a list. We always have then their photo, their name, and then we have their title. And look at this one, for example, CEO Sundial Connections. Well, we don't know anything. If we're looking at this list, we simply know nothing about whether we want to talk to this person or not, because lots of people call themselves CEO. And Sundial Connections, we don't have any interest. What is it? So that profile isn't going to get someone to click on it. Talent acquisition director at Ferrari. Yeah, sure. That probably would, because if that person's in recruitment and they're interested in Ferrari, fine. That's going to happen. And then we've got this one, Aries. If I'm looking for those things, he's award-winning, brilliant. I would click through on that. So as you can see, the headline is really, really important. there are two schools of thought for the headline. You can either use words to make you stand out, or you can use a paragraph or something. So just to show you, actually, I've got mine is actually keywords. A a sentence one would be not paragraph. I said before, sorry. A sentence one would be how to get leads and what to do with them, which I change mine back and forth depending on what I'm up to at any given time. I wanted to run talent branding exercise, so I put that in and move things around. But yeah, so helping organizations do this, this, and this. Always thinking about prospect and what's going to get the prospect's ear and interest them.
Do you think you need to change them often, or just leave it, set and forget it, as they say?
Most of your profile is set and forget.
Yeah.
But you can run different campaigns. You know, if you want to get found for talent branding, for example, you would put it on there. But when I start running the sales campaigns, teaching people how to sell with LinkedIn, it really is how to get leads and what to do with them. So, you know, I would just change it around. So yours is good because you said straight away that it's personal branding and digital strategy for C-suite, which is great because that we know a lot about that. We know we're moving into the era of personal branding, and we know it's about the C-suite. So that's pretty good. So another option you've got here is your contact information. I would suggest always changing your email out to one that fits with the URL for your company.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a branding issue for that.
And that doesn't affect how you log in, obviously.
No, so LinkedIn will allow you to set yourself with an unlimited number of email addresses, I think. And all you would do is just set it as primary. You actually want to include all your email addresses just to give everybody the option of finding you if they're looking for you from different email accounts. So just set it as the primary. And then you've got 3 different websites that you can use, and you're only using 2. So I'm just going to open what they are.
Hopefully they work.
Yeah, I just redirected it. There we go. Digital book. Yeah, so you've got your book that people can buy. So this is a dedicated landing page with a video. So that's really very nice. It's a good idea. And then you've got your main website. So what I always say to people again is thinking of the journey. I looked at those not really knowing what I was going to get behind it, apart from your book. So why not mention it a bit more clearly? Read my book or learn about my book.
So make it more of an action as opposed to just here's a link.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
I'm just going to go to mine so you can see what mine looks like to other people. What have I got these days? Request a profile review. Our packages follow our company page.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So you've implied that here's something to do, go and do it type thing, as opposed to being more passive to say, oh, here's my website.
Exactly. And then one of the things I often do with people is I look at their page and I say, where is your page gone? I say, well, what's the most interesting thing here? So you might say, actually, just direct people straight to your blog. So you can just put my blog, or you could put about the digital delusion, because actually that page, I'm assuming, has got a lot more content on it and it really can build the story. So again, it's thinking about that buying journey of how people are moving through the profile and what questions are coming up in their minds and what they need to know. So one of the key things I always say with people is you have 4 types of people you're writing for, and they fit into 2 categories. The first one is they're not your prospect. They are never going to be interested in what you're doing. They simply have no need. However, they probably and most likely do know people that do need your product. So why don't we speak to them in a way that educates them on what it is that we do and the problem that we solve in the marketplace? Because there's no saying that they could be talking to a friend and the friend expresses something and they go, oh, there's a solution for that. Is there? Yeah, I read this person's profile the other day and they said X, Y, Z. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to go and do some research. So we've now created awareness in the marketplace that wasn't there before. That non-prospect, it might actually just be that they're not your ideal customer. They're never going to be able to afford your budget, and it's not a project you would ever get involved in. But likelihood is, if they've come to you, they are looking for solutions of this nature, and therefore they're likely to have a conversation with somebody else about that solution another day. And then they will end up spotting your clients for you and going, oh, this is an ideal prospect for that person. He was really good. He impressed me. I'll mention it. And so you get a word of mouth recommendation from someone who's never actually met you, and they're going out there spotting your clients on your behalf. So it's perfect.
Excellent. Yeah.
So then you've got the other people. They're three different people, and they could be in either spot. They could have no idea that they have a problem, and are not looking for a solution, or they could know they have a problem but don't know a solution exists, or they know they have a problem and are actively looking for a solution. And what the ideal thing would be is that we would take in the profile, we would take from someone from going, I had no idea I had a problem. I thought my social media was fine. I thought my personal branding was fine. But I didn't even know it was a concept I should be thinking about. That we should take them to go through to, oh my gosh, I do have a problem. Social branding, personal branding is a really important issue. I do have a problem. To where they go, right, I need help right now. Who do I go to? Well, obviously it's you, because I'm on your profile and you've just educated me on this. So no matter where that person comes in, we can move them through a journey very, very quickly. And speaking to these 4 people, we can only do it in one paragraph, and the paragraph has to be a maximum of 5 lines long. The reason is big chunks of text people aren't going to read, and you have a limited amount of characters, and you have all of those eyeballs at once on that profile. So therefore, it needs to speak to all of them. And that's why I say it's really an art and a science to actually manage to achieve this. So what we're trying to do very quickly is we're trying to put into context why someone should keep reading our profile. We need to get to the heart of the problem, the heart of the issue immediately, and stop them in their tracks. Now, with 60% of a buying decision now made online, we as salespeople need to interrupt their buying process as quickly as possible and become a trusted advisor to them. So what we've discovered now is that, and you'll know this from your own behavior, when you go and market yourself, when you're going and research a new thing you need to buy, you'll actually go online and Google it before you will actually call a supplier and start talking to them about the problem. So when you have a problem, you're researching it, you're looking for all the different information and ideas. You might talk to friends and colleagues about it. But the last thing you actually want is a call from a sales representative until you are ready. But how do you know when that sales representative, how does a sales representative know when the time is to call? Well, they probably don't. But if we can get that prospect to call them instead, we are streets ahead. And the way we do this is by becoming a trusted advisor to that person. We're not trying to sell to them. We're just trying to help educate and add value to them during that buying decision.
So it's really about educating them and just giving them that information that they might need. So what you're saying is you should sort of encapsulate that to account for all of those groups that are not even aware that they have a problem, up to those that are, I need a solution. Who can help me?
Yeah. And so the way that you do it is to add value and educate. Because if you've educated and add value, the person who's not your prospect is now equipped with some really good dinner conversation. They go out for dinner and they go, oh, did you know, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't aware of this before, but now I am. So they're creating awareness for you. And the other person, it's like, whoa, I had no idea. I had no idea that online security was such an important issue, and that £50 billion was lost per year to this. And this. Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
No, for sure. So how do we structure something like that? Because it seems like a big task of trying to combine all 4 of those into one paragraph.
To be honest, it can take me hours.
Oh, to really? Get that okay. So it's not just art; it's also a lot of work.
Yeah, it's really thinking it through, because what I find is you've got 2,000 characters plus, including spaces, on your LinkedIn profile. You've got to get in there your credibility, your call to action, and you've got to explain the problem and how you solve it. And if you explain that problem, you could go off on a million tangents. And also you can confuse people, and you can also spark up objections in people as well. So the whole time I'm writing it for all 4 audiences, all the different objections that person might have, and then try and answer their questions before they've even asked them. So the opening would be very much around, let me go to this. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to try a different one for the example of this one, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So this guy does big health conferences and retreats. And his starts off with, in today's world, the first sign of a heart attack is the heart attack. For the first time ever, it is predicted that parents will outlive their children. Fertility is on the decrease as miscarriages are on the increase, and our farming choices have led to our fruits and vegetables to contain just 5 to 20% of the nutritional value they did 100 years ago. Our current way of life has weakened our gene pool and is simply unsustainable, and I am on a mission to change this.
Yeah, he's telling a story. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so it gets you straight in, you're straight involved, and you're equipped with a lot of information very fast.
Yeah.
And then obviously he does his credibility statement. Having overcome serious illness as a child, a family breakup, obesity, depression, and recovered from a broken back after doctors told me I'd never walk again, I know personally what it takes to transform, what it takes to make a choice to transform your life. And this is very carefully written because it's like, oh, well, it's all right for you. You know, that's the objection most people are going to have. But actually, he knows personally what it's like to make a choice. And that's the key thing there, is the choice. So it's actually accessible to anybody. So there's a number of things going on inside of there.
And did you write that one?
I did, yeah.
For Skip?
I did.
Okay. And roughly how long would that take you to make, and how many times have how many copies do you go through?
For people who've got their branding message really clear, sometimes it's rewriting what they've got on their website and reorganizing it. And other people, I spent 12 hours before now on it, and I will go. The first place I'll start is with all of their information, like which landing pages we're going to use on the web thing, what videos we're going to use. I kind of take it all the way around the outskirts, so I get really, really familiar with the topic, and I write all of their experience, build all the story and all the credentials up inside of that, and then I'll come to the summary, and then that's where I know I'm going to spend the most time.
Okay.
And yeah, I try and plan it out before the journey of the reader before I actually start writing. So it can take me a very long time, and it can take me not so long
to get it right. So you mentioned 3 things that the profile should contain, and that was problems or pain, the credibility, and then some objections. Were there anything else that's sort of important?
It's really in the style of you writing it. There are things to consider when you're starting it. And then it's how you incorporate that into what you've written. So I would always sit down and think about, well, what is the buying journey of this prospect? What's going on in their mind at the moment? And what problems are they looking to solve? How are those problems showing up to them? What words are they using? What is the real crux of this? Like, what is the real deep problem? Because often we think a problem is a problem, but actually it's much deeper. And do I recognize that that's my problem, or am I actually thinking it's the one above? And then I've got to tell people, well, no, actually, it's right down here is your problem. I'm trying to lose weight and I can't. Well, actually, most of the reasons people can't lose weight is because the fat in their body is protecting their organs from the toxins in their body. So they first have to detox before they can lose weight. So you don't know. Do you know what I mean? You don't know exactly what the core of the problem is. So sometimes we start at weight loss and we take them down to the detox message. We don't start at the detox message. So we're always looking at those kind of things. And I guess it's, with the things you listed there, they're the kind of things that you're looking at inside the sort of buying journey. But they're not necessarily what you would come straight out and say. I think the key elements of that summary is you're gonna interrupt them in their journey and tell them something they didn't know before that's really related to them. And then you're going to put into a statement what it is that you do. And there are different styles, like Skip's one, he says it, and I'm on a mission to change this. Then he says his story, his credentials for why he does this. And then he says, on my retreats, and he goes through straight down to the call to action. Another example I've just brought up for you is Daniel Priestley's. He runs the Key Person of Influence program. And his is, today we live in remarkable times, a unique point in history where technology provides greater businesses greater potential to succeed than ever before. Talented individuals and dynamic companies that spot an opportunity and act to make it a commercial success can play in the expanding global marketplace. At Intrivo, we help entrepreneurs and leaders take full advantage of the extraordinary times we live in. Our focus is on developing personal brands, running successful campaigns, and developing business assets. And then credentials like the size of the company, then what he has to say about it and why he does what he does, and then a call to action. So these are the kind of things you want to be putting into place. Now, on yours, I noticed that you've got a number of those things, but it's all about the relevancy and the order of which we put them. Firstly, because I know you asked me for your critique on yours, firstly, you're writing in the third person.
So that's a no-no.
That's a big no-no.
Okay.
The reason being, if I met you at a networking event, I saw your photo, I shook your hand, I heard your headline, I shake your hand and you speak to me, Doyle is a...
Well, doesn't everybody do that?
No, they don't. The key is that we're trying to build rapport. We're trying to leave people feeling like they know, like, and trust us, that they've actually just spent real time with us. So it's absolutely critical that we say I. And some of the most important statements you're going to make on your LinkedIn profile is to say, I believe. I think that, it's my opinion. I've experienced in my journey. I know. I've witnessed firsthand. These kind of statements, they draw somebody in. They're like, when they're reading it, they're being pulled into that conversation, and there's an effortless flow from one paragraph to another. And the key to remember is that nobody cares about you until they know that you care about them. They're not going to sit here and read it until they know that the profile is relevant. Firstly, they don't want to be sold to. So if you're looking for a digital specialist on online business, I'm not. Goodbye.
Okay.
You're gone. I don't care that you're an author, entrepreneur, speaker. It doesn't bother me at all. I have no interest. What you did 15 years ago, no interest whatsoever. I will do when you bring that back round later on and say, this is how I got started and this is where it all comes from. So someone I'm writing
for... If it's relevant, then.
Yeah. Someone I'm writing for at the moment, they're out of the military, and they're doing pretty much like, Bear Grylls retreats and events for executives and things. So totally, that's a massive part of his message. So we would bring it in when and where it's relevant. And then you've got has an MBA in leadership. Great, we'll put that in the qualifications section. Then the book is really going to be the call to action. It's how people can find out more. So we're probably going to put that a bit lower down the profile. Just leaving the next bit. Then you've got your credentials. So this is really important. But we don't need credentials until I know exactly how you're going to show up for me and how you're going to solve my problem. The problem I might not have known I had until I read your profile.
Yeah.
And then it's all about how to get people engaging with you. So I just want to go through this really quickly. When someone's read this, we've got a call to action telling them how they can find out more from us. We don't want people to take too big a steps. We want to do what we call an easy first yes. Now, the book is an easy first yes, but you are about to ask me for $10 to $20 for it. I might not want to pay that. I don't know yet that I necessarily feel the value of this. So why not give a free chapter or two of the book on the profile?
Mm-hmm.
So on mine, for example, you can come down here and you can actually read straight in. There it is. That's the beginning of my book. 3 chapters for free.
And that's right on SlideShare.
That's right on SlideShare as a PDF.
Oh, excellent.
And
okay.
all the words are keyword optimized in there. Yeah. So that's a really good one. I haven't actually started that with the other one yet because it does take a lot of consideration. So this is just just an overview of what the book does and how to buy it. Yeah, so you can put yourself in as an author speaker as an open entry as well, because this gives you the opportunity to actually say, these are my books, these are the speaking engagements that I've done. One lady, she's a midwife and she does all these different talks on many different topics. So because we can't get it all in the same entry, and speaking is a big part of what she does, I've actually listed out some of the keynote talks that she might be invited to speak on. So that's
a separate part. That's an experience section. So you'd add that like a job, basically. Is that correct?
Yeah, you do. I mean, for an entrepreneur, the way you switch this around is that you enter all of the entries for your experience, because this is your journey, this is your credentials, this is how you became the expert at what you did today. But you don't want to fill out with results that you've created. I'm sorry, tasks and responsibilities. You want to talk about results that you've created for people, and you also want to turn it around to what's relevant to the job at hand now. You want to be hired for your digital skills. You want to be hired as a speaker. So throughout the experience, you can be saying, I did this, this, and this, but always tie it back to the message of today, like why and how is it relevant? And I've got, actually, I'll be distracting us if I take that as done. That's word, so I won't do that. But yeah, so your experience needs to be filled out, and then I know one of the questions people are going to ask is how far back should I go?
Well,
And the
only
answer,
to what's relevant, really.
well, yeah, I mean, if you started off in McDonald's, don't bother. Unless somehow you're doing customer experience and you became the manager of a McDonald's, which one of my clients did. So, you know, where I had a client, for example, and he'd put in his headline when I looked at it, he said, business coaching with the precision of a Michelin star chef. And I went, oh, I didn't know Michelin star chefs needed to be precise, but I've learned something today. Precision is very important, right? And I went through his profile and I was like, I don't see anything on here about being a chef or Michelin star. This is really confusing. So when I got him on the phone, I asked him, why is that there? Why do you put such emphasis on chefing when you're a coach?
Not a chef.
Yeah. And he said, well, I used to be a Michelin star chef. I said,
Mm.
well, why is it not on your profile then? He goes, because it was 20 years ago. It's not relevant. I said, do me a favor, put it on your profile and let's see what happens. He called me back 3 weeks later and said he'd been tendering for a coaching job for 3 months and he hadn't heard back, and they were down to the last 3 or 4 people that they were trying to work out which candidate they wanted to hire. They couldn't do it, and they thought, you know what, we have to make a decision today. We're going to go to the LinkedIn profiles and we're going to make our decision. They looked at his newly revamped profile and were impressed. But for one particular thing he'd written on there, he got the job immediately.
Mm.
Because he said he was a
He
Michelin
was a
star.
Michelin star chef. Okay,
Why?
yeah.
Because they were a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
They're a restaurant with an aspiration to be Michelin star. So who are they going to hire? It's absolutely no brainer that it would be him. So yeah, so it's really important that you tie all these things together. It's really important that there's that synchronicity between all of the different things that you're saying. And there's a lot you can be communicating in your experience. Now, if you're the CEO, chief founder, like I put on mine, you have the ability inside of your entry for experience to actually outline who you work with or some of the packages and services that you offer. You don't have to repeat yourself. You can actually take the buying decision further. And I always say to people here is make it tangible. Let a person feel like they can take something away from this. That their questions are being answered. I mean, a lot of research will happen after business hours. So you're not going to be on the end of the phone. And people are cautious about getting in touch. Maybe it's going to be wasting my time. Maybe, this isn't right. So try and give them as much information as possible so they're as equipped as they can be in knowing whether to work with you. So one of the questions, is who do you work with? I don't work with job hunters, so you can actually see it's not there.
Yeah.
Somewhere I've actually written, this is not open for job hunters. So yeah, I've written that there. And then when you come down, I've actually outlined what makes a great LinkedIn profile.
And those are connections to your slide shares.
Yeah, and so how I work clients. So this
Okay.
is the biggest question. Who do you work with and how do you do it?
Yeah.
So I've actually walked it through with people. This is what I do.
And I love how you have the title page to that presentation is also very clear, and it's a bold headline. There's no graphics, so it's not distracting. It's like, yeah, this is it. What makes a great LinkedIn profile? And you're inclined to click, which is fantastic.
And it's also answering the question when they've got that far. If they've got that far and they've now decided, this is interesting, I want to link, put it in profile. Am I the kind of client? Yes, I am. SME, a perfect window to tune your business. Oh my gosh, I need this. The very next question they're going to ask is, how does this happen? How much time will it take from me? How much time do I have to put into this? And most people are shocked that actually they just need to invest 90 minutes with me. I do the whole thing, and then they just need another 10, 20 minutes just to edit over some stuff, change it around a little bit, give me their feedback on the document, basically. Takes normally 10 minutes, and then I log into the profile and do it for you. So I want people to know this, because that time investment is a barrier to them buying from me. So I'm going to tell them the answer right here.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going to wait for them to ask me at 11 o'clock at night. I reply the next day at 9 o'clock, but actually they don't go back on the platform for a few days. And the energy they had around it, the excitement's all gone. So yeah, there are a number of things, and also I think the branding one across from the other is interesting as well, because you see this next section, I've actually branded them the same.
Yeah.
This, I have to confess, I didn't make this for LinkedIn. I made it for a download and then changed the purpose of it. So one thing to think about is how big is that font?
Okay.
It's not
Yeah.
actually the easiest thing to
It's hard
read.
to read.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
It's
are,
big, like, well, actually, I can do this.
are you saying then that you wrote those presentations just for LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, so I wrote this one to engage prospects because I was getting really tired of meeting people who said my profiles were really fantastic.
Yeah.
And actually, I couldn't work out what their services were. They just published a book with their theory, their take on the world, like their unique reason for being. And when I came across their profile, not only could I not work out what their unique reason for being was, I actually couldn't work out what their services were.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? It's a great way for people to engage with me and for me to add value without them yet having to connect with me, without them yet having to do anything. They're just like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll read a bit more. Yeah, I'll read a bit more. I mean, there's plenty of things I'd love to do more on the profile.
Well, that gives us a really great idea in terms of what we can do for our profile and how to sort of reproduce our profile to make it tangible. And I guess that's really what I'm missing is that it doesn't really say what I do. I mean, yeah, I've done some interesting things, but at the end of the day, what do I want to help you with, kind of thing?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
how can I help you with that?
Yeah, and is it too long? Like, you've got lots of entries for the same thing, but how is this relevant to the viewer? What do they need to know? Looking at what is the outcome. If you look at the overall sales funnel for your business, when I come to your profile, your website, of course I know this because you set it out. I want you to join the mailing list. I want you to enjoy these different things. Right here you've got a sign up thing and you've got these different things, and you've thought about the outcome and where people are going and how they're going to flow through the sales journey from your website. So what we want to do is exactly the same with your LinkedIn profile, knowing that these people are coming cold. They haven't Googled it, clicked on an ad, which they have to get to your website. They're coming in cold. They're already in your network, or they've seen a status update or an article you published and thought that's interesting. And then we start their buying journey off from there. And the idea is to get them into your existing sales funnel. So my sales funnel is, I'm going to give you a LinkedIn profile review, tell you what's what with your profile, and then you can either opt in or out for me actually writing it for you. That's my outcome. That's my objective. So when you look at my profile, you can pretty much get that straight away. I've got a call to action here. I've got the ability to book from here. Do I need to book? Well, read this first. And then the questions come later for like whether you should be buying from me or not. So these are some of the things I would be doing with yourself, especially like just cleaning it up so it's a lot tighter, and emphasizing it. Here you've got lots of different things, but actually I can't decide as I'm going through this. I'm like, oh, he's very interesting. Oh, which one am I going to click on? There's too many. I'll click on none.
Okay.
People just go,
Yeah.
I can't
I won't
decide.
click on any. Yeah.
Because you've got a lot of options. So that's why I would just really
Well, how do I get rid of those then?
no, you have to remove them. Oh my gosh, you've got so many.
Well, I just thought that was the way to do it, is that when you make a slideshare, you link slideshare asks if you want to link it or connect it to LinkedIn. So it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, sometimes it's just convenient to do it. It's going on your profile, but
Yeah.
generally this leaves a prospect confused. We've got too many
Too
decisions in our
much.
life to make
Yeah.
anyway. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's too much.
Looks like it goes in reverse chronological order too, which is not something that's really that good. You want it most current.
Yeah, they haven't helped you out there. They should think about that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, if you are doing that, you're putting lots of really great stuff, which I can see you are, onto SlideShare. Then I would, keep them on SlideShare, but use the one of the website entries, view recent slide presentations, or learn from my slide presentations or something. So people can still get to it and experience it. But right here, it's all about that sales journey. It's all about what questions they're answering, how am I answering them for them.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks, Naomi. Some brilliant ideas
No
there.
worries. You've got a lot of
Um,
good stuff. It just needs tightening up.
yeah, okay. So I'll probably be hiring you then. And everybody should as well. So in summary, what are the profile is key. Can you kind of summarize the sort of the top three things that people should be looking for when they're putting the profile together?
Yeah, I think the top one is having a professional photo. It's really important. It's something you can take care of quite easily. Um, and it's thinking about that buying journey, speaking in the first person in the summary, and engaging people with the summary, building your credentials up with your experience so people can see the journey you've been on and why you're qualified to do what you do, and you should be their expert, and having a really strong call to action. Let people know how to get in contact with you. Don't rely on it just being an invitation to connect. Put some, your phone number and email in there as well. And always be thinking about what you want people to do next. What's an easy next step for them? Um, like we were saying here, this is not an easy first step. It's great that I can engage with you further, but I can't decide which one to go with. Um,
It's
yeah,
too much information.
yeah.
Don't
So
have too much information.
yeah, don't have multiple entries all for the same thing. Where it's like, what? I don't get it. Oh, I've had enough now. I'm off. That is how people are thinking. I've had enough now. I'm off.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
relevant to me or else.
All right.
So you've got
Well,
some.
it's good. It's good thing I'm learning from the expert, the LinkedIn expert. Oh, fantastic. So, those some really great ideas, Naomi. So you had a gift as well that you wanted to give to our audience?
Yeah, I do. What I can do for you is send. I can bring you to this page, the profile.company, and it's, bear with me one second, it's actually going to be a different URL right this second, but um, what I'd love to do for you is bring you to a page with some slides, a LinkedIn profile template that you can download,
Oh,
and
perfect.
you can take that away and fill it out yourself and plan it all first. If you've done that and you actually want some help reviewing it, I can actually review that Word document for you. Or I can review your actual profile. I do recommend that goes first, actually. Review the whole thing because a lot of it is your business strategy you want to go over. So that's there for you. Um, and you can follow us on our company page. And then at the bottom, I've got some really nice resources from key people that have really sort of impacted me. So that's my free gift to you guys. That profile review template, the slides, and
Okay. And
other ways to get in touch.
what's the URL? Do you have that?
It is going to be the profile.company digital delusion.
Slash digital delusion. Okay. Perfect. Thanks. And we will have that link on the main website as well, which is the digitaldelusion.com/podcast. And then look for the episode for Naomi Johnson.
Cool.
Perfect. Okay. So how else can we find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Can we?
I don't know, can you?
Well, that's a
um,
relief.
yeah, it's a good relief. Yeah, definitely. Find me on LinkedIn. My URL is, for anyone who wants to know where theirs is too, I might as well just tell you. Underneath your photo, you've got a unique link here. So I'm uk.linkedin.com/in/Naomi Johnson UK. You can find me at theprofile.company, and that's also Naomi at theprofile.company. And there's my phone number. There you go. It's all on the screen. How wonderful is that? LinkedIn's got some glitches going on. That is not my Twitter account anymore. It's at the Profile Co. It's been 6 months. They still can't update that. It's a known bug. But yeah, so those are my contact details. Anyone who'd like to get in touch, I'd be delighted to speak to you. I do offer the 30-minute profile review, and can give you some real insights into your personal branding, where you're up to right now, what message you're giving across, listen to you about your business, your goals, and give you some really key suggestions on how to improve your profile. And obviously, if you want to go ahead and have me write it for you, that's an option. We also are about to launch an online program as well, where you get all the tuition to do it for yourself, or you can ask me to do it for you. So many options.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, it's been quite the experience, Naomi. I really appreciate your time and ideas and insight and trying to, I guess, help an old geezer like myself get things rolling on LinkedIn. So Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And for all the listeners out there, keep in mind, LinkedIn is one of those key ingredients that if you're doing growing your business, you need to be on LinkedIn. That's where the professionals are. So once again, thanks, Naomi. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care. Thank you very much for listening to Breaking Digital, the podcast for smart entrepreneurs wanting to become true digital leaders in their industry and to own online. If you have any comments on the program, please feel free to connect on Twitter at Doyle Bueller with the hashtag #OwnOnline. I would really appreciate it if you could share this podcast with your network, as I'm sure they will get some value from it for building their successful business online as well. You can find the resources that we talked about, as well as the transcript and full podcast for download on thedigitaldelusion.com/podcast or on iTunes or on SoundCloud. I'm Doyle Bueller, and I will see you online.
Thank you for listening to Breaking Digital with Doyle Bueller. While he goes and makes a sandwich, you can find all of the notes, links, and details on this podcast by visiting thedigitaldelusion.com/podcast. Go on and click that now. www.thedigitaldelusion.com/podcast. I'll definitely click that. If you'd like a free copy of the book, The Digital Delusion, How to Overcome the Misguidance and Misinformation Online, just send an email to doyle@thedigitaldelusion.com. See you online.